You're watching my 5 kids for free every weekend, my sister declared. You don't have a life. Can you imagine someone looking you dead in the eye, in front of your entire family, and telling you that you don't have a life anyway, then demanding you babysit their 5 kids for free every single weekend? What would you do when your own father then backs them up, threatening to cut you off entirely?
I'll tell you what I did.
I smiled, and I said, deal. My name is Mark, and I'm 34. I'm the director of a kindergarten in Columbus, which, yeah, means my days are already loud, messy, and full of tiny people who honestly think rules are totally optional. 3 months ago, my sister Tara decided that meant my weekends were optional, too. She stood up at Dad's backyard party. A huge gathering of about 47 relatives and neighbors, mind you. A paper plate in one hand, lemonade in the other, and she just announced, clear as day, "You're babysitting my 5 kids for free every weekend." Then came the kicker. You don't have a life anyway.
She didn't ask.
She assigned. And people, my own family, they actually laughed like it was cute. I didn't. Dad, he leaned in, his voice low and serious, like he was closing some big business deal, not talking to his own son. Then don't expect help when you need it, he warned. But something shifted in me right then. A quiet, cold certainty. I smiled, so calmly it surprised even me. Deal, I said. They thought I was bluffing. Oh, they had no idea. They didn't know I'd been quietly paying $612 a month on their minivan for years because Tara's credit couldn't get approved. They didn't know the title was in my name. And they definitely didn't know what was inside the plain manila envelope I'd brought in my work bag. It was the same envelope my attorney had told me to keep sealed until I was truly ready to stop being flexible. Hours later, when that envelope was opened and read out loud, everything changed. And 3 months after that, their car broke down. They called me 18 times. I texted back one word. Dad's house has always had this particular smell. Grilled meat, cheap cologne, and the unspoken rule that love is something you earn by being useful. My sister, Tara, she learned early how to be useful in the way our family rewarded most. Not hardworking, not kind, just loud. Confident. The kind of person who can say something outrageous and make everyone else feel weird for not agreeing.
Me?
I learned something else entirely. That be flexible usually just meant be invisible. When I was 9, Tara borrowed my birthday money, 3 crisp $20 bills from Grandma. Dad just shrugged like it was the weather.
She needed it more, he said.
I stared at my empty piggy bank like it had personally betrayed me. Tara didn't even pretend to be sorry. She just flopped onto the couch, kicked her sneakers off, and said, "You aren't going to do anything cool with it. You're boring."
Dad?
He didn't correct her.
He laughed.
Your sister's just honest, he told me, like honesty was a permission slip to take whatever you wanted. By 13, Tara had figured out the family economy. Attention was currency, and I was the default solution. When she decided she wanted to cheer, she needed expensive uniforms. Dad didn't have the money. Mom didn't either. So I got a paper route. Every single morning, 5:30 a.m., cold fingers, wet newspapers, dogs that hated me. I stacked my tips in a shoebox under my bed. The day the uniform came, Dad didn't say thank you. He just patted my shoulder like I was a good tool. That's what family does, he said. Tara twirled in the mirror and declared, "Finally, now people won't think I'm poor." I looked at my reflection next to hers. My clothes were too small. My cheeks were chapped. My eyes looked older than 13. I started learning the math of resentment before I even had algebra. In high school, I got a scholarship interview. It was a big deal. Full tuition, maybe even more. I practiced my answers in my room, whispering them like secrets. Dad walked in without knocking. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Practicing," I said, "for the scholarship interview." He made a face like I'd told him I was joining the circus. "Scholarships are for people who don't have a plan," he scoffed. "I have a plan," I told him. He snorted. "Your plan is to be what? A preschool teacher?" It stung like a slap, but I didn't flinch. "Tara," he called over his shoulder. "Come listen to your brother's dream." She wandered in, chewing gum. Dad repeated it, mocking my words like they tasted bad. Tara just laughed. Ah, she said, little Marky wants to sing songs and wipe noses. Something in me hardened then. Not anger. Something colder. Something that could last. I got the scholarship anyway. I left. I built a life where my work mattered to people who didn't treat me like a punchline. And still, every time Dad called, it was never just to say hi. It was always because Tara needed something. By 25, Tara had 2 kids, then 3, then 4. By 30, she had 5. Each one arrived with a new crisis, a new need, a new reason the family had to pull together. When she had her 3rd, she called me at work. I was in the hallway outside the toddler room, holding a tiny boy who'd fallen asleep on my shoulder. My phone buzzed. Tara's name. I answered because I always answered. You have money? She asked. No greeting. What's wrong? I asked. I need a car, she said. Mine is done. Done. How it makes a noise, she snapped, like grinding metal. It's embarrassing. Tara, Mark, don't make this hard. I have kids. The toddler on my shoulder sighed. I rubbed his back, thinking, have you looked at used cars? I asked. I did, she said, like I was stupid. I can't get approved. Their dad's credit is trash. I knew that. Kyle, her on-again, off-again fiancé, had been between jobs for years, the way some people are just between responsibilities. So, what do you want me to do? I asked carefully.
She huffed.
You have good credit. Just cosign. You won't even feel it. I pictured Dad's voice. That's what family does. I pictured 5 kids squeezed into a car that made a noise. I pictured Tara crying at my voicemail if something happened. So I said, okay. Not because she deserved it. Because the kids did. The dealership smelled like rubber and desperation. Tara flirted with the salesman and called him hon. Kyle just stared at his phone like the world owed him patience. When we finally got the paperwork, the salesman slid it across the desk. Tara barely glanced. Kyle didn't touch a pen. I read every line. The minivan was financed under my name because the lender wouldn't approve Tara. I told myself it was temporary. A bridge. A favor. The monthly payment was $612. I set it to autopay. Tara hugged me outside, squeezing hard. You're the best, she said, her voice suddenly sweet. I knew you'd come through. Kyle clapped my shoulder. Good looking out, man, he said, like I'd just lent him a tool. 2 weeks later, Tara texted me a picture of the van. Caption. Finally, something nice for once. No thank you. No, we'll pay you back. Just a photo, like she'd earned it. That was the rhythm. I helped. They took. Dad praised Tara for being a fighter and me for being reasonable. I learned to swallow the taste of being used because it was familiar. Until it wasn't. The thing about working with little kids is you can't fake boundaries. If you let a 3-year-old climb the bookshelf once, congratulations, you have a climber now. They'll do it again and again until you stop them. Not with yelling, but with consistency, with calm, with the same rule every time. I taught parents that in meetings. Then I went to Dad's house and forgot it for my own life. Tara started calling my weekends available time. Drop off is Friday at 6, she'd say. Not can you. Not would you. Just scheduling me like a service. The first time I pushed back, she acted wounded.
What?
You hate your nieces and nephews now, she said. I loved them. That was the trap. I'd take them to the park, make grilled cheese, wipe tears, break up fights, and by Sunday night, I'd be so drained. I'd sit in my quiet apartment and stare at the wall like the silence was a sound. Monday morning, I'd be back at kindergarten, smiling at parents. Big feelings are okay, I'd tell toddlers. Then I'd go to my office and breathe through the headache. I try to set limits. Tara, I can't do every weekend, I told her once. She laughed. You're not married, she said. You don't have kids. What else are you doing? Resting, I said. Resting from what? She snapped. You play with kids all day. I stared at my phone like it was a stranger. You think my job is playing? I asked quietly. She didn't even hear the question. You're good with them, she said. It's basically your thing. Dad backed her up like he always did.
We all pitch in, he said.
Tara's got her hands full. You mean Kyle? I said before I could stop myself. Silence. Dad's eyes narrowed. Don't start, he warned. I learned to stop talking. I learned early that in my family, truth was treated like disrespect. The final straw didn't come from the kids. It came from the way Tara looked at me like I was a resource.
A tool.
A free weekend she could spend on herself. It started with a text, as most ugly things do now. Asterisk Tara. Dad's doing a backyard thing Sunday. Be there. Asterisk me. What for, Tara? His birthday, duh. Asterisk me. Okay. What time? Asterisk Tara. 2. And bring your car keys. Kyle's gonna look at your tires. Asterisk I blinked. My tires? Asterisk Tara. Yeah. He thinks your car would be better for us. Ours keeps vibrating. Asterisk I stared at the message until the screen dimmed. My stomach did that slow, sickening drop it used to do as a kid. Not fear, just the recognition of a pattern. I typed. No. He's not taking my car. 3 dots appeared. Asterisk Tara. Relax. We're just talking. Asterisk me. No, asterisk Tara. OMG. Don't be dramatic. Dad said you'd help. Asterisk of course, he did. I didn't reply. Sunday, I drove to Dad's house with a small gift and a bigger knot in my chest. I promised myself I'd stay 2 hours. Smile. Sing happy birthday. Leave before anyone could hand me a diaper bag, like it was a baton. The yard was full. Neighbors, cousins, uncles, people I hadn't seen in months. Dad loved an audience. Tara loved one even more. She was already performing when I arrived, standing by the food table like she was hosting. 5 kids circled her like satellites. Kyle leaned against the fence, sipping a beer. Dad spotted me and waved me over. Mark, he boomed. There he is. He pulled me into a hug that felt more like ownership than affection. You look tired, he said, loud enough for a couple people nearby to hear. Work's busy, I said. Tara swooped in. There's my babysitter, she announced. A couple people laughed. I felt my face heat. I kept my voice steady. I'm not your babysitter. Tara tilted her head like I was speaking another language. Okay, she said, smiling. My brother, who babysits. Same thing. Dad clinked a spoon against a glass. All right, everyone, he said, stepping up onto the little patio step like a stage. I just want to say thanks for coming. Family means everything, you know. And speaking of family, he pointed at Tara. My girl Tara has been doing it tough, he continued, his voice full of that proud sympathy he never offered me. 5 kids, and she still keeps going. She's a warrior. Tara dabbed fake tears. The crowd nodded. Dad's gaze swung to me. And Mark, he said, he's been helping out. That's what good sons do. He was smiling, but his eyes were sharp. A warning. Asterisk play your role. Be flexible. Be invisible. Asterisk Tara stepped forward before Dad even finished. Actually, she said, bright and loud. We need to make it official so Mark doesn't flake. I froze. Tara lifted her phone like she was reading a proclamation. Mark's going to babysit my 5 kids for free every weekend, she announced. Laughter. Whistles. Someone said, that's love. Tara grinned wider. And before he pretends he's busy, she added, he doesn't have a life anyway. That line hit like cold water down my spine. Not because it was new, because she said it like a fact. Like it was safe to say out loud because everyone agreed. I heard a couple snickers. I heard someone whisper, wow. My ears rang. I could have exploded. I could have screamed. But I've stood in toddler rooms with kids melting down, and I know something most adults don't. If you match chaos with chaos, chaos wins. So I took a breath. And I said calmly, no. Tara's smile twitched. What? She asked, still performing. No, I repeated. I'm not doing that. The crowd shifted. People love drama until it gets real. Dad stepped down from the patio, like a storm moving in. Mark, he said through his teeth. Not here. Actually, I said, surprised by how steady I sounded.
Here's fine.
Since this is where you decided to announce my weekends. Tara scoffed. You're really going to be like this? She said. After everything? After everything? I echoed. And that almost made me laugh. Dad got close enough that I could smell his cologne. You're selfish, he said quietly. Your sister needs you.
She needs a paid sitter, I said.
Or Kyle needs to parent.
Kyle pushed off the fence, irritated. Don't talk about me, he snapped.
I looked at him. Then act like you exist, I said. A couple gasps. Tara's cheeks flushed. Dad's voice dropped lower. If you refuse, he said, then don't expect help when you need it. There it was. The family threat. The transactional love. Help isn't love in our family. It's leverage. I felt something in me click into place. Not anger.
Clarity.
I smiled. Deal, I said. Dad blinked like he hadn't expected agreement. Tara threw her hands up. Unbelievable, she snapped to the crowd.
See?
No life, and still too good for us. People murmured. Someone laughed awkwardly. I reached into my work bag, still slung over my shoulder. Not dramatically, just deliberately. I pulled out a plain manila envelope. Dad's eyes flicked to it. What is that? He asked. I looked at Tara. It's the part of the family arrangement you've never bothered to read, I said. Tara rolled her eyes. Oh my God, are you doing paperwork right now? Yes, I said. Because you've been treating my life like a schedule and my money like it comes from nowhere. I nodded toward the patio table. Can we sit? I asked. Not as a request. Dad hesitated. The crowd was watching. He wanted to stay in control, so he said, too loudly, fine, let's hear it. My Aunt Linda, Dad's older sister, caught my eye from across the yard. She'd always been quiet, but not blind. She gave me a small, almost imperceptible nod.
My ally.
Not loud support, just presence. That was enough. I set the envelope on the table and slid it toward Dad. Open it, I said. Dad frowned, then tore it open like he was punishing the paper. He pulled out a stack of documents. The top one was the vehicle title. His mouth tightened when he saw the name. Mark Davis. Tara leaned in. What is that? She demanded. Dad cleared his throat, eyes scanning. His voice changed as he read, losing some of its swagger. This is the title for Tara's van, he said slowly. Tara laughed like it was a joke. Okay, so? So, I said, it's in my name. Tara's laugh faltered. No, it's not, she snapped. It is, I said. Because you couldn't get approved. Remember when you called me and said your kids needed a car? Kyle's face darkened. Mark. Tara started, sharp.
I didn't let her take control back.
I pay $612 a month, I said, loud enough for the nearest cluster of relatives to hear. I've paid it for 3 years. Autopay. Quietly. No thank you. No plan to pay me back. Just expectation. The air went thick. Someone near the grill said, Wait, what? Tara's voice rose. You offered, she yelled. I agreed to help. I corrected. I didn't agree to be your unpaid weekend employee forever. Dad looked up, furious now. Not at Tara for using me, but at me for making it visible. You're embarrassing your sister, he hissed. I stared at him. No, I said. She embarrassed me publicly. You joined in. Tara slammed her palm on the table. So what? You're taking our van now, she spat in front of everybody. I shook my head. This isn't revenge, I said, and my voice stayed calm. This is reality. I tapped the next page. It was a letter from my attorney. Not dramatic. Simple. Clear. It stated that as the legal owner and primary payer, I had the right to terminate the informal arrangement and reclaim the vehicle if payments were not reimbursed. It also included a second document, a dated notice. Autopay cancellation scheduled for Monday. Tara's eyes went wide. You can't do that, she said, suddenly smaller. I can, I said. And I am. Dad's nostrils flared. You're punishing the kids, he snapped. No, I said. I've been protecting the kids while you've been enabling the adults. Kyle stepped forward, jaw tight. Man, that's messed up, he said. You're really going to screw us because you don't want to babysit? I looked at him like he was a math problem with one obvious answer. You had 5 kids, I said. You put yourselves in this situation. A couple people made a noise. Shock. Agreement. Discomfort. Tara's voice cracked, but it wasn't remorse. It was panic. So, what are we supposed to do? She demanded. Dad turned to me, trying a different tactic. Mark, he said, softer now. Bargaining. Come on, we're family. Don't be like this. I felt the old pull, the old guilt. Then I remembered Tara's voice, sweet as poison. You don't have a life anyway. I looked at Dad. You don't get to rewrite what you did to me, I said. Dad's eyes hardened again. You think you're better than us because you have a job with little kids? He snapped. I almost smiled because he still didn't get it. My job taught me the thing he never learned. Boundaries aren't cruelty, they're clarity. I'm not better, I said. I'm just done being used. Tara's face twisted. So, you're just abandoning us, she said, loud enough to pull sympathy. I didn't take the bait. I pointed to the line on the letter. I'm giving you 90 days, I said. Either refinance it into your name or start paying me monthly. If not, the vehicle goes back to me. That's it. Dad grabbed the papers like he could crush them into compliance. This is ridiculous, he snapped. You're doing this to hurt us. I met his eyes. No, I said. I'm doing this so I stop hurting me. The crowd was quiet now. Not laughing, not cheering, just watching the truth sit there on the table like a heavy object nobody could pretend wasn't real. A neighbor coughed. My cousin stared at the ground. Aunt Linda exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for years. Tara's voice went shrill. You're going to regret this, she hissed. When you need us. Dad nodded, pouncing on the old thread again. That's right, he said. Don't expect help when you need it. I smiled, the same calm smile. Deal, I said again. Then I picked up my bag. Happy birthday, Dad. I added, because I'm not cruel. I hope you get what you built. I walked to my car. My hands didn't shake until I closed the door. Then they did. Not from fear, but from the adrenaline of choosing myself in front of an audience trained to punish me for it. I sat there for a moment, forehead against the steering wheel, just breathing. Then I drove home. The next day, Monday, I did exactly what I said I would. I logged into my bank app and canceled the autopay. Then I called my attorney. Not because I wanted a fight. Because I wanted clean lines. Are you sure? She asked. Yes, I said. Okay, she replied. Then we do it properly. Properly meant emails, documentation, dates. Properly meant no more, he said, she said. I sent Tara a message. Short. Simple. Mark. I'm not available for weekend childcare starting immediately. If you need a sitter, hire one. Mark. Van payments. You have 90 days to refinance or begin repayment. I will not cover it anymore. Tara replied within minutes. A wall of rage, accusations, insults. Then the classic pivot. What about the kids? I didn't argue. I didn't defend. I just repeated the boundary. This isn't a debate. Dad called that night. I watched it ring until it stopped. He left a voicemail. His voice was thick with outrage and certainty, like I was still 12 and he could scold me into compliance. You're tearing this family apart, he said. You're acting like a stranger. Tara needs you. You're going to regret this. Don't call me when you're alone. I saved the voicemail. Not to punish him. To remind myself later, when guilt tried to rewrite history. The next few weeks were ugly in small ways. Tara posted passive-aggressive memes about toxic people and boundaries being selfish. Dad stopped responding to my texts completely. At work, my days stayed the same. Kids cried, kids laughed, kids learned. Parents thanked me. I went home, and my apartment was quiet. The kind of quiet that felt like healing, not loneliness. But the family pressure didn't vanish. It just changed form. My cousin texted, "Can't you just help a little?" My aunt, not Linda, called and said, "Your father is heartbroken." I said, I'm not discussing it. She said, he's your father. I said, and I'm his son. Silence then. So, you're really doing this? Yes, I said, not angry, just firm. I learned something strange during those months. When you stop being useful, people reveal whether they loved you or your labor. Tara did not refinance. Kyle did not suddenly become responsible. Instead, Tara tried to pressure me back into the old role. She'd text on Fridays like nothing happened. Drop off at 6. I would reply, no. She'd call. I didn't answer. She'd leave voicemails. Her voice sweet now. Mark, come on.
Just this weekend.
I'm so tired. I'd listen, feel the old tug, then remember the line. You don't have a life anyway. I'd delete the message. Not because I didn't care. Because caring without boundaries is just slow self-destruction. Then it happened. On a rainy Tuesday, the kind that turns the highway into dark glass. I was finishing a staff meeting when my phone started buzzing on the table. Tara. I ignored it. It buzzed again and again until my assistant director asked, everything okay, family? I just flipped it over. In the hallway, I checked the screen. 18 missed calls. Then a text from Kyle. Kyle, answer. It's an emergency. My stomach tightened because emergency can mean anything when kids are involved. I didn't call them back. I called Aunt Linda instead. Because Linda tells the truth. Hi, Mark. Are the kids okay?
They're fine, she sighed.
They're with Tara at a gas station off I-70. The van broke down. Smoke and everything. Kyle's freaking out, of course. I pictured myself pulling up like always. Fixing it.
Paying for it.
Absorbing it. And I realized this was where boundaries stopped being ideas and became actions. I called highway assistance, gave them the location Linda texted. Then I opened my messages. Tara, Mark, answer. Tara, we're stuck. Tara, you have to help. Then the one that hit like a bruise. Asterisk Tara, stop being petty. You don't even have anything else to do. Asterisk same knife. Same dismissal. I didn't explain. I didn't argue. I texted one word. Deal. Dad called next, furious. I stayed calm. Help is on the way. The kids are safe. If family helps family, then you can go, he hissed. Don't expect anything from us. Deal, I said and hung up. Later, Linda texted. Tow truck came.
Kids are okay.
Tara's mad. Kyle's blaming everyone. I put my phone down and went back to my classroom where a little girl cried because her banana broke in half. It's ruined, she whispered. It's not ruined, I told her. It's just different now. This story taught me that love should never be transactional. My family didn't love me. They loved what I provided. The moment I stopped being useful, their love evaporated into threats and manipulation. The core lesson is about boundaries. For years, I confused enabling with kindness. I thought being flexible meant being family. But true family doesn't weaponize your compassion or mock your existence. When Tara said, "You don't have a life anyway," she revealed how they truly saw me, not as a person, but as a resource. Saying no isn't cruelty, it's self-preservation. I didn't abandon my nieces and nephews. I stopped letting adults exploit me while hiding behind children. My calmness, throughout all of it, shows real strength. I didn't explode. I didn't plot revenge. I just enforced consequences I'd clearly stated. Just like that little girl's banana, I wasn't ruined by setting boundaries. I was just different now. Whole in a way I'd never been while breaking myself for people who never appreciated the pieces. So, tell me, what would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to draw a hard line with family? I really want to know what you think.